Hi, Spicewood Kindergartners. It's Miss Rayborn here. So we have been inspired by the book Spots, and we are going to do some creating with spots ourselves. So what you would want to have is one large piece of white paper. Can you see how big that piece of paper is? It should be the last one in your art supplies that you picked up at the beginning of the school year. If you don't have a big piece of paper like this because it ended up getting used or something like that, you can use any old kind of piece of paper. If you have a piece of copy paper that is smaller, you could absolutely use one of those. Any kind of a white piece of paper will work. If you happen to be at home and you are you used one of your papers, because this should be the last one that was in your kit. So we're kind of working with that before we pick up some new supplies in a couple of weeks. The other thing I have is my box of crayons, and I'm going to be using just my paper and my crayons today. Next week, we're going to talk about some directions about painting. This is something that we're going to get to paint, but today we're just going to focus on getting the drawing part done after being inspired by our book. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do, Miss Rayborn likes to dump my crayons out and kind of spread them out so I can see what my choices are. That's the way I like to handle it, but it's up to you what you like to do. So we're gonna talk today about different kinds of spots and dots and patterns and how we can use them. And we're going to make ourselves a drawing completely made up of spots, dots, circles, okay? So you're gonna choose a color that you like to start with. One of Miss Rayborn's favorite colors is orange, so I picked this kind of reddish orange. And I wanna talk to you about your crayon. Now, your crayon has a couple of edges to it. It has a back side right here where you can make thicker lines, and it has a small point here where you can make smaller lines. So just remember that when you're working with your crayon, you actually have two choices. If you want a fat, thick line, use this side. If you want a thin one, try over here. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw myself a spot or a dot or a circle that almost fills up my whole page. I want it to be really big, and I'm gonna use the fat side of the crayon, the back side. And drawing a dot can be tricky, so I'm going kind of slowly. I know that I need it to connect back together, so I picked up my piece of crayon and I'm gonna go back the other direction to make sure it's connected together. Remember, one of the things that makes it a circle or a spot or a dot or a shape is that it's connected back together. That's super important. Now I want my line to show up really well, and I want to be able to see it. I want it to be a thick kind of a line. So I even went around a couple of extra times, making sure that I really had done a good job making my nice thick line. That's my first spot. So with your crayon, your favorite color, I want you to draw a really nice big spot somewhere on your paper, okay? And you might have to go around a couple of times to make sure you get a nice thick kind of a line, because I used the back side of my crayon, okay? When you're ready, put that one down and choose a new color. I want you to switch to something different. Miss Rayborn is gonna switch to this sort of red-violet kind of a color. It's like magenta, and this time I'm gonna draw a spot inside of my spot. Now, it could be a really tiny one. It could be a pretty big one. It's really up to you. It can be right in the center. It can be off to the side. I'm gonna use the pointy side because I want it to be smaller this time. And so I'm gonna make one about this size, so I have a spot inside of my spot, okay? Then I'm gonna take that one crayon and I'm gonna put it down and I'm gonna choose a new color. This time I'm gonna make a pattern with my spots, and I'm gonna make them go all the way around this big spot. I told you we're creating just with spots and dots today, and then we're gonna add some patterns, but we've got quite a bit to do before then. So I picked a new color, and I'm gonna draw some spots or some circles that go all the way around the big spot on my paper. So I'm working my way around. This guy might be even like going off the page. Look at that. He doesn't quite fit. I can't fit them over here, so I'd have to start again over here. And I'm working my way around. I'm using that same color. And if I notice it's too light, do you see how that's really light? It's kind of hard to see. I can go back with my crayon and push just a little bit harder or trace around it again if I need to. So I am making my way around. I just have to fill from here to here with my spots and dots. Let's see. I think maybe I can fit 2 there. Ooh, that one got a little bit squished, but it's okay. So I had 1 big spot. I had a spot inside of that spot. Then I drew a whole bunch of spots around it. Okay. Next, I'm going to put that one down. I'm going to choose a new color. I picked red this time. And I want you to make a spot. You've got probably quite a bit of space on the other side of your paper. And I want you to decide what size you want it to be. Right now, Miss Rayborn has a big one. I have a small one, so I think I'm going to go with a medium-sized spot. And I'm going to put it right here because I'm trying to start filling my page. Now, look what happened when I was drawing right here. I didn't quite get it connected. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to use the back side of my crayon. And I'm just going to make sure that that line is connected all the way around because we know that a line is the difference between a line and a shape is whether it's connected or not. So I went and made sure that I took care of that. So I had my medium size. I had a large, a small, and a medium. I'm gonna put this one down. I'm gonna pick a new color. And I want you to make a spot that overlaps with this spot, which means on top of it in some way. It could be big, it could be small, it could be medium like this one. Again, it's up to you, but it has to touch it in some way. So I'm gonna make mine go like this. See how there's like a spot on top of a spot? It's overlapping each other. I'm using the back side of my crayon because I'm using a really light color of yellow and I want to be able to see it really well. So overlapping a spot. Okay. Now, next, let's see. How many spots do you think I have right now? Goodness, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 for sure. And then look at all these little ones. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. That's not really a whole one over here. 26 spots so far. Wow. So what I'm noticing is I still have some empty places on my paper. I have over here, I have over here, I have over here. So I'm gonna try to make some spots that are going off the page. This is a little tricky, like this one that's over here. Do you see how it's going off the page? I'm gonna switch to a new color and I'm gonna make this spot, look at that. It looks like it got chopped off. It should keep going all the way around up here, but it got kind of cut off. It's going off the edge of the page. I'm gonna put one there. I'm gonna switch to a new color. Let's see, I'm gonna do one more blue-green. One more going off the page. On this side, a nice thick line. So I'm gonna go over the top of it again. I want it to be nice and thick. So I have 2 spots that are going off the page, okay? Then I want you to pick a new color. So far I've been switching my colors every time and I love it because my drawing is starting to get very colorful, which I think is gonna be very fun when I start to paint. I'm looking forward to that. I think I'm gonna get a blue. I'm noticing I don't have any, just plain old blue. And I'm gonna add 3 more spots to my page. Anywhere I want, any size I want. And I think I'm gonna make them all the same color. So I'm looking for empty places on my page. I'm noticing right up here is a little bit empty. Oh, I pushed too hard and I broke my crayon, but that's okay because now I have two. And I have kind of an empty space over here. And over here, there's an empty kind of a space. Do you see that? And I think I'm just gonna let this spot overlap again with this red one. So now this red spot has two overlapping spots, a blue one and a yellow one. Okay, so I've added lots of spots to my drawing. And now I want us to stop and think just a little bit about patterns. Now, this right here is a pattern, the circle, 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 right? That's a kind of a pattern. We can also make patterns with lines. So I'm gonna put a pattern inside of here, but I don't want it to be the same color. I'm gonna get a different color, and I'm gonna make a spiral line, which is a line that goes inwards, but it doesn't touch. That's how I know it's a line, right? I think I'm gonna switch to a new color, and I'm going to put, I haven't had any pink yet. What if inside of here, I made a pattern of lines? So right now, I'm still working inside of my spot, but I'm giving my spot a pattern, which looks a little bit like a sunburst to me. I'm going to the outer edge, all with that one color. I put a pattern inside of my big pattern. Then I'm gonna switch to a new color. And let's see, what about this one right here? What if I made some zigzag lines inside of it? We've been talking about lines and shapes, and you can make patterns with lines as well. So I'm gonna put a pattern inside of, how about two shapes? So I've got a line pattern inside this one. And then I'm really liking this color, so I think I might keep it. I think I'm gonna go over here. And what if inside of this one, right here, I did, a new kind of a pattern. What if I used a castle line kind of a pattern? So I want you to take your time to fill up your dots and your spots with some patterns. The next time that we're together, we're gonna talk about painting and adding color to our spots and dots using some paint. And we're gonna go over our painting rules and etiquette. It's been a little while since we've done some painting, so Ms. Rayborn will have some reminders about that. Today our job is just to fill up our spots and dots with patterns. So I still have several to go. So far I've got this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. Empty spots, I still have 1, 2, 3, this part of this one, 4 and 5. I think it might be too hard to put patterns inside of here, but if you want to try, you know what you could do? Watch this. You could put a dot inside of each one of those dots. That's an easy way to make a pattern, isn't it? I can't even guess how many spots or dots I have on my paper right now. I bet it's more than 50. So I'm gonna add a few more patterns to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of my spots and dots, and then I would be ready to stop for today. Next week in our art lesson, we will take this paper and we will do some painting. So when you filled up your page with your spots and your dots, and you've got patterns in between and in your spots and dots, you can be done for today. And next week we will talk about adding paint. Our paint is gonna work really well with the crayons that we're working for today. So just put it off to the side in a safe place until our next art lesson together once you've filled it up with patterns and dots. So, bye for now. I'm missing you. See you later, Miss Rayborn.